Okay, let's continue on reading from the book by Greg Fernandez. This is Kennedy and Trump. We are now on page 82 of the PDF version if you're following along here, looking at July 8th, 2024. Let's go and see what we got here. July 8th, 2024. Crooks found his future sniper's nest on July 8th when he searched online for AGR International. On the same day, Secret Service agents in the Pittsburgh field office held planning meetings and did a walkthrough of the Butler rally location with local law enforcement. Based on whistleblower information Missouri Senator Josh Hawley received, the Secret Service site lead agent was known to the Trump campaign to be inexperienced, to be ineffectual, to be frankly incompetent at their job. July 8th is also the day Joe Biden told his donors in a video call, "We're done talking about the debate. It's time to put Trump in the bullseye. We can't go another day, without explaining what he's doing, and we have to go after him." This is the same day a police meeting was held with the Secret Service, FBI, state police, and local law enforcement. The meeting was led by an unnamed Secret Service lead agent. The meeting was led by an unnamed Secret Service lead advance agent. According to a Pennsylvania State Police email, the lead advance agent let everyone know what assets and resources they wanted from each agency. A Pennsylvania State Police lieutenant in attendance stated the Secret Service did not answer specific questions from their agency, including where the stage would be. So why would crooks be researching the AGR building the same day? Beaver County Emergency Services Unit, ESU, team leaders were requested to help cover the July 13th rally. Text messages between the team leaders show they were looking for, quote, 6 available guys for a 12-hour detail. One text read, "If absolutely needed, we can split the shift. As of right now, I do not need TEMS or CNT. Sorry, guys. TEMS is short for Tactical Emergency Medical Services, and CNT is short for Crisis Negotiations Team." July 9th, 2024. 3 separate site surveys were conducted at the Butler Farm Show on July 9th. One by Secret Service agents, another by Pennsylvania State Police, and a third by Butler County law enforcement. After which all met together at a local state police office known as the Butler Barracks to examine the farm show on Google Earth. During that meeting, according to a state police lieutenant, the pre-planning for the rally began. We were able to draw the fence line and then show around areas that would be of any concern and where we needed to set some posts up, which we discussed at a later date. The Secret Service lead advance agent received a call from the second supervisor of the Trump detail informing her Secret Service counter snipers were being assigned to the rally. The second supervisor stated there was a credible threat but did not elaborate. There was a credible intelligence that he could not speak about, the Secret Service lead advance agent later stated, and that we were going to get Secret Service counter sniper advance for that reason. The lead advance agent then told the second supervisor to contact her superior, the special agent in charge, SAIC, of the Secret Service Pittsburgh field office. The SAIC said he was never contacted and was never told about a credible threat against President Trump by the lead advance agent. It gets more confusing when the lead agent told investigators she did relay the information to the SAIC. I don't know if that lead agent should be capitalized there either. Look into that. Lead agent caps. And this is page 76. Cool. The SAIC stated he first learned about the snipers through an email requesting housing for them. I did not even know about a request. I did not even know a request was made, the SAIC told Senate committee members. Asked if he knew why they were being sent to the event, he responded, I don't. It gets worse. According to the Senate committee report, the SAIC said if he had been made aware of intelligence regarding a potential threat, he would have requested more specific information about the threat and might have pushed for the event to be moved indoors if it was deemed too risky for an outdoor venue. The agent expected any intelligence about a credible threat to appear in the intelligence portion of the preliminary survey report written by the lead advance agent shortly before the event. Even though she was informed about a credible threat, the lead advance agent didn't mention it in her preliminary survey. At this time, no adverse intelligence has been developed concerning this visit. An adverse intelligence that may arise will be passed on to all working supervisors. She had the information, but never passed it on at any point. The lead advance agent was forced to explain that decision to investigators. At the time I filled out this document, my understanding was that there was no adverse intelligence to pass on to the group as a whole. This is not all-encompassing as to intelligence, whether or not it can be passed. If it's something classified, such as something that was not passed to me to begin with, then that would not be put in writing as well. It would have been passed to those that needed to know in the situation. Why would something like that be classified? Okay, I'm going to keep my mouth shut on my own opinions on this. Reading on. I guess that means the SAIC, her supervisor, did not need to know, though that's exactly what she told the Trump detail to do with the credible threat information. Inform her superior. Her explanation doesn't make sense. The Secret Service site agent was shocked that the credible threat information wasn't relayed to others in the agency. As a site agent or lead agent assigned, you should have any intelligence or any information pertaining to an active threat to a particular protectee, absolutely, in case that we need to take additional measures or maybe plan for additional assets or additional resources for that particular matter. The Secret Service intelligence agent, the Secret Service intelligence advance agent also did not receive information about a credible threat, did not know why snipers were sent to the event, and was unaware of the arrest on July 12th, Mr. Merchant, related to a plot to kill Trump and other politicians. The agent sent a letter to the FBI on July 10 requesting any intelligence related to Trump and the upcoming rally. The FBI ignored the request. Put in there, comma, maybe another comma needed. Mr. Merchant. And that is page 77. I'm not sure if a comment goes in there or not, but we'll check. We shall check. Where are we at? Okay, now we're going to July 10th. On July 10th, Secret Service counter sniper and technical security personnel arrived in Pittsburgh and began advanced planning for their teams, according to Secret Service Acting Director Ronald Rowe. Beaver County ESU spent the day finalizing their assignments for the rally through a group text with 8 individuals. The plan was to leave hazmat at 0800 hours and drive to the rally point in Butler. Once at the site, more than likely, we are going to be tucked somewhere out of sight. And yes, that is the way that it is spelled, site, S-I-T-E, out of the sight. I was like, well, I mean out of sight, but that's the way it is in the document. That's the way Catherine said to keep it. For anyone driving on their own because they have to leave before the event ends, one team leader texted, you can follow the Bearcat I don't know if this U is supposed to be capitalized. I'll have to check the document. You can follow the Bearcat or meet us at the Meridian FD 121 Sparks Avenue, Meridian, PA 16001. The sniper who left early the day of the event responded, "Copy, I'll be driving. Copy, I'll be safe driving." So that is what we have for the safe driving there. July 11th, 2024. The July 11th walkthrough of the event with Secret Service agents was incredibly disorganized, according to a Butler ESU commander. "I felt like there was no plan," he told Senate committee members. "There was no coordination, and people were just milling about." I do want to make a note there about committee, Senate committee members. I don't think that needs to be capitalized unless it's a title. I think that's okay. That would be page 78, I believe. Okay, I'll have to double check on that. July 12, 2024. On July 12th, Crooks signed in at the Clairton Sportsman's Club rifle range at 2:45 p.m. for shooting practice. Meanwhile, a Secret Service C-UAS operator requested additional C-UAS personnel and equipment, but was denied without reason. In case you don't know, C-UAS stands for Counter Unmanned Aircraft Systems, also known as drones. Glad I put that in there because I was just about to wonder what the heck are they talking about? There's a lot of names. This is a tricky chapter, by the way, as you probably realize by now. I'll just stop for a second. But this chapter, multiple documents, trying to pull from multiple documents all at the same time, trying to make sense of it and to try to get it into some type of order. And then you want to keep in all the facts. You don't want it to be too textbooky, too boring. But I'd rather have more of the facts and less entertainment. Not about entertainment. For me, it's all about putting all those facts in. So I get it if it kind of, a lot of this is just kind of going over your head, or it's just like, what is all, who are, there's all these names and all these people involved, and there's this one leader, and they don't give us their names either. So we don't know who some of these team leaders are. We just have very limited name, the lead side agent, the supervisor of the lead side agent, things like that. And that's all that we have right now. So that's what I put in. But I really wanted to document as much of it as possible, pulling from the public release documents that we have and trying to make some sense of it, but also trying to put it into a timeline. And so I don't know if I did it right. I don't know if I failed, but reading it, I can see it's a little choppy. It's a little jumpy. It jumps around some of these names, unless you know what they're talking about. I've never heard of C-UAS. So, but it all makes sense to me. I'm sure there's some other authors who will do a great job documenting just this particular story. There actually is a couple of them, a couple great books that are already out there, definitely. And I wish I knew the name of it. I can't think of the name. Do I have? Hold on, I may have it. No, it's in another section. Too bad. I know it was the first book about this, and it's really good. It just focuses on the Butler stuff. Okay, I will keep reading on as long as I remember where I stopped. Okay, so this is important because this is a drone. The C-UAS. This is very important because here we're going to learn about the drone, who had a drone that day and who didn't, and why. And it's one of the, if you're in the tech business, if you do anything related to Ethernet cords and stuff, it's one of those moments where you're like, oh, that's all it was? It's pretty frustrating. The C-UAS system's technical difficulties allowed Crooks to fly a drone 200 yards away from the event site on July 13th. More on that later. At 6:55 p.m. on July 12th, the final schedule was sent to the Beaver County ESU group text. The ESU scheduled timeline reads as followed. Now we're really getting into some of the technical aspects of this. 1100 hours. Command post operational. Sniper positions occupied. Counter assault teams in position. Quick response force in position. 1300 to 1600 hours. Parking open and the magnetometers active. 1505. Trump Force 1 expected to arrive at airport. 1620. Trump motorcade expected to arrive at farm show. 1700 to 1815, President Trump's speech is expected to last 75 minutes. 1815, Trump motorcade will depart from event. According to a congressional preliminary report, Butler County Tactical Command set aside radios for Secret Service agents a few days before the big event. On July 12th, Butler County ESU Commander Sergeant Edward Lins reminded the Secret Service counter sniper team to pick up their assigned radios at the ESU Command Post RV, which was parked inside the event fairgrounds. The radios were never picked up. Why? A sniper position in Hercules 1 on the left side of President Trump was offered a local radio on July 13th, but stated he was unable to pick up the radio due to technical difficulties with his Secret Service radio. Construction of the campaign rally site began on July 12th and continued into the early morning hours of July 13th. And here we go to July 13th. On July 13th at 9 a.m., the Butler County ESU led the day's briefing for local law enforcement. Secret Service personnel did not attend that meeting. Beaver County ESU and SWAT Sniper Section Team Leader Jason Woods told ABC News this was where the communication breakdown began. He was quoted as saying, "We were supposed to get a face-to-face briefing with the Secret Service members whenever they arrived, and that never happened." Woods said this was a pivotal point where I started thinking things were wrong because it never happened. We had no communication with the Secret Service, not until after the shooting. Secret Service Director Rowe said something a little different during his August 2nd press conference. He stated, in the morning of July 13th, a site briefing was conducted with Secret Service personnel and law enforcement partners supporting the event. How can both stories be true? It's frustrating to see conflicting stories from the Secret Service and local law enforcement several weeks after the assassination attempt on President Trump. Senator Ron Johnson asked Director Rowe about the conflicting reports. Here is Rowe's response. Senator, with respect to the snipers that went on national television and gave an interview and said that they did not get a briefing from the Secret Service, they were supporting through mutual aid, and our personnel briefed the tactical team leader that was leading that element that was providing this counter sniper. So basically he's saying, yeah, those snipers, they didn't meet with the Secret Service, but their bosses did. So all good. Why meet with the people who are actually going to be there being counter snipers and you can just meet with their bosses? That makes sense, right? So frustrating. According to the Beaver County ESU After Action report, here is the list of those present at the 9 a.m. briefing. Butler County ESU, Beaver County ESU, Washington County ESU, State Police, no input. Bravo team leader gives assignment. That's what's in the document. That's what I put there. Not, no flow. Hard to follow in a book. I'm sure you're like, what are you talking about? Why were Secret Service agents not present at this very important briefing? So far, there has been no explanation for their absence, but it seems like a violation of the agency's standard operating procedures. But then again, there were many strange things the Secret Service did that day. Whistleblowers told Senator Hawley that the site's lead agent wasn't enforcing the usual security protocols. She was not checking people's IDs, said Hawley. Most of the agents there that day were not Secret Service agents. They were Homeland Security agents. Most of them had never worked a rally before, and yet this is who she chose to staff the event with. And she didn't train them or integrate them. From top to bottom, it was a total disaster. Senator Hawley mentioned people milling around secure areas, and even worse, IDs were not checked to allow individuals into secure areas. Nobody knew who they were. The Secret Service lead advance agent's radio wasn't working from the moment she left the Pittsburgh airport with Trump's motorcade. The SAIC of the Pittsburgh field office gave the lead advance agent his radio. This left the SAIC without a radio for the day. I guess they didn't have spares. The SAIC stated he was there to act more in a liaison capacity, as he didn't hold a post or sector and was not part of any protective formation. Some liaison. He had no radio to communicate with other agents. At 10 a.m., other reports say 11 a.m. that morning, Crooks arrived at the rally, stayed there for 70 minutes, and then went back home. Before scoping out the rally, according to reports, Crooks purchased a box containing 50 rounds of ammo from a local gun store. Beaver County ESU was in place at 10:15 a.m., and at 10:30 a.m., it's noted there was a vendor dispute at main entrance handled by Butler County Sheriff. The Beaver County ESU after action report stated snipers were in place at 10:30 a.m., but it isn't clear if the Secret Service snipers were included. According to Director Rowe, here's what happened next. Secret Service personnel took their posts, and a technical security sweep of the protective site commenced prior to the site's opening to event staff, vendors, and to the public. Crooks' cell phone data showed he was at the Butler rally site between 10:58 a.m. and 11:50 a.m. The site was open to staff and vendors at 12:30 p.m., according to Rowe's timeline. 30 minutes later, magnetometer screening began. Local law enforcement was preparing for 3 contingencies and had assigned teams to respond to each scenario if needed. The first contingency was labeled Attack on Event Multiple Actors. That's right, multiple actors. The second contingency was for an assault on former President Trump. The third included a scenario where locals were preparing for a single active attack event. A single active attack / event by a local. These are great contingencies. Local law enforcement, I believe, did a great job. I don't know what is going on with the Secret Service, but they definitely need an overhaul. I like the guy who's leading the Secret Service right now. I think there's a lot more work to be done. Okay. Initially, there were 5 sniper teams on site the morning of President Trump's rally. Starting from Trump's left on the stage was Hercules 1, and to his right was Hercules 2. Both were Secret Service counter sniper teams, according to public records released by Senator Chuck Grassley. I was pleasantly surprised to learn there were also 3 local law enforcement snipers on duty that day. 2 snipers were part of the Beaver County ESU, and 1 was from the Butler County ESU. That's 5 snipers for one event, which was the first time ever there were snipers at a Trump rally. Remember that statistic for later. While at home at 1:30 p.m., Crooks lied to his father in order to obtain the rifle. Crooks told his father he was going back to the shooting range at the Clairton Sportsman Club. Around 1:55 p.m., Crooks purchased ammo on his way back to the Trump rally location. FBI Deputy Director Abate stated what happened next. The subject then arrived at the scene, was moving around the farm showgrounds close to the American Glass Research AGR building. At approximately 3:51 p.m., the shooter flew a drone approximately 200 yards from the farm showgrounds for about 11 minutes. The drone and controller were later found in the subject's car. Analysis has not revealed any photos or video taken by the drone, but we can confirm that he was live streaming at the time and would have been able to view it on his controller. According to official reports, Crooks did not take any photos or record any videos on the drone, and authorities did not find a memory card in the drone. Later reports stated Crooks watched live on his controller as the drone surveyed the rally layout in real time. Because the CUAS, the Counter Unmanned Aerial Systems, had technical difficulties and did not go operational until after 5 p.m., according to Director Rowe, the Secret Service was unable to identify and possibly stop Crooks from flying the drone. According to official reports, the Secret Service agent tasked with CUAS responsibilities at the rally had very little experience with the equipment he was operating. After the 10 a.m. post standard briefing, the advance agent, I wonder if I should look at that one. The advance agent tried to activate the CUAS equipment that could detect drones, and that's when the technical difficulties began. At 11:30 a.m., he still could not get the equipment to work and called other Secret Service personnel for help. His superior gave him the technical support number to call. The agent couldn't reach tech support for the company who produced the CUAS equipment, so he called the 888 support hotline. While waiting for tech support to call him back, according to the Secret Service agent's testimony, I need to make a note of page 82, caps. While waiting for the tech support to call him back, according to the Secret Service agent's testimony, I continued to troubleshoot it myself, just to the best of my abilities, turning it on and off, reconnecting stuff. At some time after 4 p.m., I get a call back from tech support and says that another person from CUAS unit's tech support had looked at my system that was connected, and it looked like two boxes. Please don't ask me what these boxes are. It's beyond me. But two boxes were not talking to each other, and to try to change out an Ethernet cable between those two boxes that connected the two of them. That's where it is. Whoever gave him this advice right here, that solved the problem. It was the Ethernet cable. According to the Secret Service investigative report, when the CUAS unit's tech support called the CUAS advance agent back, he worked with them for several hours over several phone calls to troubleshoot the issue. Shortly before 4 p.m., it was discovered to be an Ethernet cable issue. The audiovisual personnel for the Trump campaign gave him one of their Ethernet cables, and the problem was solved. It was a cable issue. Swapping out Ethernet cables would have alerted the Secret Service to Crooks flying a drone near the rally. At 4:33 p.m., the agent notified the Secret Service second supervisor for the Trump detail. The problem was solved. According to the Senate committee report, I really do need to see when you capitalize committee and when you don't, because I can already see sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. I've seen it twice now. According to the Senate committee report, once the system was operational, the only drones the CUAS advance agent detected were drones operated by local police. During the investigation, the agent was asked, "Is it your understanding that the equipment has to be connected to a mobile network in order for it to be functioning?" "I think it needs a cell signal," the agent answered. "Cellular signal, to my knowledge." "So if that's what you mean by mobile network, yes." I'm going to stop right there at the bottom of page 83. A little frustrated I've dealt with my own cable issues where you have all these issues and these things. It's always the two boxes aren't talking. They're not talking. What would cause them not to talk? There's some other issues, but an Ethernet cable was the issue here. Had that Ethernet cable been good, and it's kind of difficult to break an Ethernet cable. It does happen. Sometimes you get a bad one. Sometimes you don't know. You always want a couple backups for reasons like this. But had they have spotted crooks flying that drone, things may have ended up very different. Very different. They may have caught him. They may have found other things. I just do not believe crooks acted alone. I understand the limited evidence that there is to suggest that he was working with anybody else. Circumstantial at best at this point, until we get to know other information, until we find other information. We know that there has been time since July 13th, 2024, up to now, when the investigation just started a couple months ago into Trump, into whatever happened with President Trump. So there's a lot of time to hide information, to get rid of information, to block the information, to produce fake information that will then distract from the real information. All of that is possible. I totally get it. I just find it hard to believe this was a lone gunman theory. That's just my view on it. God bless you all. I will be back until next time. Remember, Jesus Christ loves you, and so do I, my friends. Have a great weekend.